Hi, I'm Hikaru, a dancer. Here is today's video. He wants to spin around quickly. In Latin dance, when you want to go around quickly, you need to spin fast. When you want to spin fast, you need to spin fast. When you want to spin fast, you need to practice fast spinning as well as slow spinning. Today, I would like to show you how to increase the speed of the fast rotation plus the slow rotation as a set. I also told you that you need to make the slow rotation into one rotation. I would like to talk about the importance of speed and slow rotation as a single rotation. In this channel, I explain useful information for ballroom dancing as clearly as possible. Please subscribe to my channel if you like. Let's get right to the point today. Let's get right to it. Fast rotations. Let's talk about increasing the speed of rotation. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is that you need to keep your upper and lower body together. The upper body and the lower body. At the very least, I want you to separate the upper and lower body into these two parts. If you want to increase the speed, you need to separate the upper and lower body into these two parts. If you want to increase the speed, you can make this division more and more detailed. If you want to increase the speed, you should break it down into smaller and smaller parts. Now let's look at how to increase the speed. Today, I'd like to show you how to increase the speed of the closed hip twist. I would like to use the closed hip twist of the rumba as an example. Let's start from here. The closed hip twist is just a step of 234 and counter rotation, but even with just this counter rotation, it is very important to practice to increase the speed of the rotation. I think it is an excellent step to increase the speed of rotation. I think it is an excellent step to increase the speed of rotation. The speed of this step is to increase the speed of the foot. When you want to increase the speed of this step, you pull out this foot. I think it would be good for men to practice this step as well. I think it would be good. When you practice the rotation, first of all, you move your right foot backward in step 2, and then you move your left foot forward in step 3. After the weight is shifted to the left foot, please set up the hold. You can use either the men's hold or the women's hold. You can use either male or female hold. Then hold this hold at about 90 degrees to the right. Then please turn this hold 90 degrees to the right. And if you can do it, you can do it. Well, perhaps this hand is supposed to be on the man's back when the woman is holding. So at this point, the left hand should be 90 degrees to the left. So at this point, the left hand should be 90 degrees to the left. Keep your right hand like this. Let's put our hands together. I'll show you from the side. So if you put your hands together like this at 23, and when you put your hands together, the position of your hands is this line in the middle. For example, if it were me right now, I would be in the middle of the line. For example, if it were me right now, the microphone would be on a little bit. I hope you can see a little bit of blue light or the bridge of your nose. I'd like to have this line on my shin and this hand positioned so that they meet at the shin. I'm having a little bit of a hard time. It's a little hard for me because I've lost a lot of weight. I think it's a little bit painful. In this condition, the right leg is now on the back foot, so I'm trying to keep the right hip from turning as much as possible. Please try your best not to turn your right hip as much as possible. It's okay to tense your elbows at this point as well. I'd like you to bring them to the point where you want to put your hands together somehow. I want you to bring it to the point where you want to put your hands together somehow. However, the right hip should not change the direction of the pelvis. If you do so, it will be around the top of the bust. The point is that the area around the highest point of the chest here, I think it will be in the shape that the highest part of the chest is squeezed quite hard. If you pull the pelvis back a little toward the next step, you can get the shape you want. If you pull your pelvis back a little bit, you'll be able to move at a reasonable speed. The next leg will come out at a reasonable speed. The point is to make sure that the pelvis is facing the right direction. The point is to keep the pelvis facing the right direction. From the back walk, from the point of back check, the point is to keep the pelvis facing the same direction from the back walk to the back check. But the hold, the right hand and the left hand should be in alignment with each other, and your left hand try to align with the hold. I'll try my best to keep my center facing that way, and then move on to the next step. I think it is easy to use this practice to increase the speed of rotation. I think it's easy to use to increase the speed of rotation. Then what is necessary for slow rotation? What is necessary for a slow rotation? I think many people think that you don't need to practice so much to rotate slowly. The point is, however, that spinning quickly means that it takes less time. The point is that turning quickly means that the time is shorter. So there is more time left over. For example, let's do a 3-step turn. Then let's turn around in a 3-step turn, then 4 and 1, and so on. When there is a count of 3-step turn like this, if you do a monotonous 4 and 1, it will not be fast enough. If the rotation is not fast, it will not be fast enough. If the rotation is not fast, it is not fast at all. Try to use the technique I mentioned earlier as much as possible. Try not to rotate your hip as much as possible. by using the technique I mentioned earlier, you don't turn your hip as much as possible. Let's say you turned quickly. Let's say you've turned 4 and you have only one more point to make. This is just one more beat. It would not look good if you only spend one more beat and just slowly put your foot on the floor. So after you have done this fast turn, you turn slowly and move on to the next step. So after I have done this turn quickly, I will turn slowly and move on to the next step. I think it depends on each person's step. I think it depends on the step you are taking. But if you say, I did it fast here, and then you do it slowly, then you should be able to control the next action. If you don't control it for the next action, it will not work. Pause. Do you stop or do you continue the walk after the turn? After the turn, does the walk continue? I think it makes a difference. But let's leave those differences aside. If you make the turn quickly, the rest of the walk will be slow. If you turn slowly, then you can control it and turn around at the count of 1, or you can turn sin dan sign soft around at the core nature has seen count of 2 and turn around at the count of 3. You have to control whether you step on it slowly or not. When you turn faster, you have more time than when you turn at the normal monotonous count of 4 and 1. So you have more time to turn. We have to prepare for the finish of the rotation. So you have to practice with a set of fast and slow rotations. If you don't practice, you'll end up spinning fast, but you'll end up spinning too fast. And you won't be able to stop. If you don't practice, you will be in a situation where you can't stop and you will be like, what am I going to do? If you don't practice, you will find yourself in a situation where you can't stop and you can't control the rotation even though you've made it fast. If the count goes too fast, there is no need to turn quickly. So you end up with a 4 and 1 situation where you can't increase the speed. So it is not necessary to turn quickly. If you turn quickly, you can control it slowly afterwards and prepare for the next step. So if you turn fast, you have to practice slow control afterwards to be ready for the next step. So you have to practice slowing down. I have to practice to slow down from a very high speed to a low speed at once. It is difficult to speed up the rotation. If you just want to go faster, it's not so difficult to just increase the speed. If you just want to make it go faster, it's not so difficult, just increase the speed. And the way you increase the speed should not give the impression that you are pretending to go fast. It is necessary to increase the speed while creating an atmosphere of I'm not preparing anything. If you do it quickly, it is easier to look cool. It is easier to look cool when you do it fast, or it is easier to look like you are suddenly going very fast. So if there is a gap between the two, it is easier to look fast. If you make it look faster, it will look cooler. So after making such efforts, the rotation will be cool. It is true that you want to rotate quickly, but you also need to practice slow rotation as much as fast rotation. But if you don't practice slow rotation as much as fast rotation, you won't be able to control it. So when you want to make a final decision, you can't make it. When you want to make a final decision, you can't make it, or you can't connect to the expression you want to show, or you can lose your balance. If I can't control the rotation speed, then I can't make the final decision when I want to make the final snapshot. So even if you increase the speed, you can't use it very well. If the speed is increased but it is not used properly, it is a waste of time. If the speed is increased, it is a waste of time. So you have to work hard to speed up the speed and then control it to match the next timing. I would like you to make good use of the deceleration of speed to control it well. So if you want to increase the speed of your rotation, please watch today's video. And if you want to increase the speed of your rotation, please make sure that you can squeeze the top of your bust first. If you want to increase the speed of rotation, first make sure that the top of the bust can be squeezed. And if the speed is increased by that, then you can slowly rotate from there. Once the speed has increased, you should be able to slowly rotate from there and practice the rest of the movement slowly. Then, if you practice the rest of the movement slowly, you will be able to make the rotation happen more slowly. I think you will be able to control your dance more and more, and your stability will increase. I hope you will practice with this as a reference. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to our channel and click the good button. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you very much for watching today's video.